Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio. We hear all the time how we should love ourselves, how we should take care of ourselves, and do the things that really elevate our soul. And in this next episode, we're going to hear from a group of authors, and the name of their book is called Self-Love Elevated. The whole thing is volume number 2. And what does self-love elevated mean? The love and worth you feel for yourself sets the foundation for the types of relationships you have. What you believe is what is achievable. In your life, it is embracing all of the essence of you that make you unique. When you feel an internal connection of love for who you are in all of your queen-like beauty inside and out, that is when life changes. Your self-love and worth will help you hold yourself accountable in your life, your business, and your career. So that's from the back of the book, just a little bit. And we're going to hear, why did these ladies create this book? Why did they get together and decide that it was a group book that they needed to do? And there's a lot going on here, and let's listen to what these authors have to say and their publisher, who actually helped gather them all together. Welcome to the show, Heather, and thank you for bringing such a wonderful bunch of women. This is an exciting thing. I love doing specials where we have like people really out to tell their story. So how did you come about to actually put the book together to begin with?
This is Get You Visibles and my 13th compilation. And where I see it is self-love. It's everywhere. Men are talking about it, women are talking about it, kids are talking about it, and it's very mainstream on social media. And a lot of the ladies that joined us here today and this book have a bigger vision. They've been on their self-love journey. They have been on their own self-love journey, and they're moms, and they're modeling the way for their future generations, and they're lights in this world globally. And so they came to me through one degree of separation from someone that that had signed up for the book. And that's really how we started this journey. And it just turned into its own transformation process on so many levels. And I'm just so excited that all the ladies were here to join us today. And it's really about bringing self-love with real stories, raw stories from multiple avenues of life to the forefront for people to read. And as I heard some of the stories, they broke my heart, they made me smile. And I felt so blessed to bring their stories to life and just them. And I have to say thank you guys for just trusting me to bring your light to this world and trusting me with your heart-centered story. So thank you for joining us. And thank you, Helena, for linking Michael to me so that we could do this interview today.
Yeah. All right. So why don't we one by one, starting You know what? I'm just going to call your name out from off my screen because there's a bunch of us here. So I'm going to call your name out one by one and just your name and the name of the chapter that you actually wrote to start with. Okay, and we're going to start with Amber.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amber. My pen name is Amber Louise, and my chapter is called Trust Yourself, the Ultimate Form of Self-Love.
Okay, Andrea, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andrea Petrut, and my chapter is called Remembering the Sacred.
Brittany.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany Hamilton, and my chapter is called Orange Wasn't My Color.
Charlene.
Hi, everybody. My name is Charlene Madden, and my chapter is entitled A Bulletproof Life.
Christina.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christina Smith. I'm an Olympian that was chosen to represent this amazing group of women through a foreword that I wrote. And thanks to Heather so much for that invitation.
Elena.
Hi, I'm Helena Smolak, and my chapter is What's Self-Love Got to Do with It?
Jennifer.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Trainer, and my chapter was called How Losing My Job Was a Blessing.
Justine.
Hello, everyone. My name is Justine Bulan, and my chapter is Free from Darkness at Last.
Camilla.
Hi, I'm Camilla Hara, and my chapter is called Didn't Know I Was Lost Until I Found Me.
Melinda.
Hello, everyone. My chapter is Beautifully Broken, and I'm just thrilled to be here with you all.
Rena.
Hello, everyone. I wrote chapter 14, and my chapter is called Blessings, Faith, and Love.
Shannon.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shannon, and I wrote chapter 16, Knowing Who I Am and Choosing It Daily.
And Yasmin.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yasmin Atalla, and my chapter was Journey to Infinite Love, and I'm the last chapter of the book.
And you are our last guest to speak. So, Yasmin, why don't we start with you? What was the first thing that put you on that journey towards your self-love?
So the first, I could say the first initiation that put me on a journey towards self-love was my banking journey. I had been in the bank for over 10 years, and I didn't feel like I resonated with that journey at all. And I believe the experiences that I've been through there were my initiation into the journey of self-love, which is currently my purpose. And I think it's the predominant value that we all need to live by, but we forget it because we just give blessings out there to everybody around us. And the last person we think of is ourselves. So I think that was the initiation. This is what put me on the path.
Okay. Shannon, what started your journey on towards self-love?
So I would say what started my journey is reflecting on my strengths and leaning into my strengths to live my best life. So it really came from a place of self-awareness, understanding those strengths and leaning into them.
Very nice. Raina, or Rena, I'm sorry. You correct me once today already.
Okay. So what I would say started myself, my journey to self-love, would be, I just had a lot of stuff through childhood that led me to realize that I, was here for a bigger purpose, a bigger reason. And I started my self-development journey at a very young age. And that just really brought me aware of self-love and, the negative self-talk that I was, speaking to myself, and realizing that, that's not self-love, and, just kind of started me on that awareness and path to loving myself.
Belinda.
All right, thanks. Great question, Michael. I think the thing that started me on this journey was I was reflecting on how I was able to make such a hard choice when I gifted my daughter in open adoption, and just wondering how on earth could someone do that. So as I reflected, I just realized that the people who supported me and loved me and were my bottom hands were the people who believed in me and knew that I could love myself and this little girl so much to place her in this life that she deserved.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
Camilla.
Hi, for me, the journey started with realizing that I was depressed, which was very surprising to me. And I didn't feel not only love, I didn't feel many things. I was quite numb. So that was the beginning. And then there were many, many further, obviously, initiations into it as well.
Numb is definitely not a good feel, and not a good thing at all. Justine, you're next.
Hi. So my journey started when I asked the question, why am I alive? And that question led me to a path of discovering, or actually remembering, who I truly am. And for me, self-love is all about really reclaiming all of me. At least that's been my journey so far. So yeah, thank you.
Helena.
Thank you for this great question, Michael. Well, I can honestly say that when Heather approached me for this, I was very pushed back by it, because, when we go back in time and dig up things that we feel we've healed from, we just go, no, I don't want to go there. But I'm glad I did, because it made me realize my life journey really started at the age of 10, when I was responsible for myself and my two siblings. But the impact was really when I went through a first divorce with my first husband. That made me realize to step back and look at what I've done throughout my life to cater to others. And that's how it started.
Wow. Christina.
My personal self-love journey started with really self-discipline and seeking to be, the best that I could be, which led me then further to an Olympic Games. However, my deep core was always about a larger purpose in life. And the beauty of having written the foreword for this book was I was able to embrace all the purposeful journeys that each and every one of these women were on, and the power that generated within their stories and how it could change lives beyond their own lives. So that was a beautiful gift that I was given through being part of this lovely project.
Wow, that's fantastic. Charlene.
For myself, my journey to self-love started when I actually made a decision to end my life. And when I made that decision, all of the chatter that I had been experiencing in my mind got quiet, and the universe pushed me in a direction where I ended up attending an event and unwittingly was opened up to hearing a message, actually 3 messages that eventually saved my life and put me on the path to self-love, self-acceptance, and self-responsibility. So it was a decision to end something that actually opened up to a whole new beginning. So,
well, I'm glad you're here with us, and you only ended that whole part of your life, not your whole entire life. I believe we're at Brittany.
Great question, Michael. So I think my journey really started after a really horrific event that happened when I was 22. It landed me in a situation where I had a lot of shame and judgment and guilt and just a lot of negative emotions. And I had felt like at that point, is this really where my life is going to be? Is this where my feet are going to land? And instead, I took that entire situation and I took it as a learning opportunity and one of growth and love and passion. And I started realizing I was here to help more people who have maybe not gone through something as traumatic as me, would have felt all of those emotions and feelings that I was feeling at that time. So that was my journey. It just kind of unraveled over a few years after that.
Okay. Andrea.
This is a question that brings a lot of stuff because at 11 years old, when my mom got sick, she had cancer and she was fading away, I realized how connected we all are. And I realized that if I am a mother at some point in my life, I have to take care of myself and make sure that I stay alive and healthy so that my children can really grow up with me, so I can be with them and support them, because I was losing my mother and I would not have her support ever again. That's when I started learning how to love myself, that I have to love myself and take care of myself.
Hey, Amber.
So this is, sorry. This is a tough question because I've never actually thought about it in this way before. I think writing the chapter that I wrote was the realization of self-love for myself. And so starting that process of putting pen to paper and getting my thoughts out and being able to share was really an amazing opportunity for me to recognize self-love. I know after writing the chapter and going back in time and realizing what, the different decisions I've made in my life and how I've held myself and how I've ran my business and how I've, handled myself in lots of different environments, I can look back and say, hey, that was an element of self-love. And that was part of that journey. So you could say that, your journey to self-love, has always been, or, is just part of the journey of life. But there's not a specific moment in time that says, okay, this is when my, journey began. It was more of a realization of the different decisions that I've been able to make over time and seeing that those were actually decisions of self-love.
Yeah. Okay. Heather, why don't you ask the ladies one of the questions that you asked them as you invited them to do the book?
I think I was just going to go back to the question where the self-love journey began for me, was I spent my whole life running away from self-love. And it finally caught up to me when we did the first book, what self-love got to do with it. And I have to say that every single one of you inspired me to really step into finding the peace, the calm, the awareness of what true self-love was, is because you all showed up when I put the challenge to you, and then you inspired me to step into it more. So very grateful for each of you, because I learned something from each of you in that space. And when people came to me and asked, when I got them on the phone or in a Zoom call, each of you, one of the first questions that I asked was, why do you want to write in this book? And most of you said you wanted to inspire others because of what you had learned. And the next thing was, what were you so petrified of? But so my question to each of you is, what has been the outcome for you and the lesson that you learned by sharing your story in this book?
Yeah.
So do you want me to go around, Michael?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want you to start with Christine, because I got a message from Christine.
Yeah, I understand.
And then go to Jennifer, please.
Okay.
All right.
Christina, what was it for you when I asked you to write the foreword?
Wow, that was a very, I was so honored, first of all, to be asked to do such a task. And I mean, the power of embracing all these beautiful spirits in front of me right now, you know, and to bring that energy into one forward was something I had never been asked to. I've written books before, but this was something very special. This was beyond, of course, that journey of self. That it was really about something that actually has driven me mostly in my life, was about a higher purpose. But now it became this very, very beautiful web of all these stories. So that was, I'm up always for challenges, with my background of, pioneering women's bobsleigh. So that was something that representing not only a movement, but it was representing you guys, and you guys really put me to the task, and your stories were so powerful that it just was really an honor. So that really was that joy of being chosen. So thank you again, Heather, and all these lovely ladies.
Thank you, Christina. Your words in the foreword are just bar none, uncomparable. Super strong. So thank you. Jennifer.
So for me, I was first approached by you, to do this book as your editor. And I mean, I was thrilled to take part in it just because I wanted to continue diving deeper into my role as an editor in my job. But it was as I was starting the process of, editing these beautiful chapters, and you approached me about writing as well. And having been a co-author in the past, also talking about my self-love journey in another book, I wasn't sure at first if I had more to say. But then I decided to just start writing and see what came to me. And I realized I had more of my story to share, and more words of wisdom to pass on and hopefully inspire. And so what I took from not only just writing my chapter, but from editing each one of these beautiful stories that these women wrote for the book, was that for me personally, my self-love journey is ongoing, and it's evolving and adapting and changing constantly. And what I took from the other ladies is that there is so much strength within us, even at our darkest and most challenging times in life. And it takes a lot of courage to find that strength and push through those, dark moments. So that was my takeaway from the entire experience. And it's been a beautiful journey. And I just, I'm so honored and blessed to have been a part of it.
Thank you. Rena, would you like to go next?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, when we first talked about writing the chapter, yeah, as you know, Rosalind is the one who referred me. She wrote a chapter in the first compilation. And I've actually been wanting to write a book of my story for a very long time, but it would just seemed extremely overwhelming. And, I've started and stopped many, many times. So yeah, I wasn't sure how this would all go, but it actually was like such a great experience. My journey started when I grew up in foster care at a very young age. And from there, I've learned lots of lessons. And I really, truly am grateful for all my experiences. And I believe that we're all going to be learning until, the day that we die. That's our journey. So, yeah, this just really was like a stepping stone and showed me that I can do it. So thank you very, very much. And yeah, I just like your process was just incredible. It was so good. And everybody was so supportive, and yeah, it was amazing. So yeah, I think it's anybody that's looking at writing a book should definitely start with the chapter. That's definitely what I think is the best way to go. So yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Brittany, do you want to go?
Yeah. Thank you, Heather, for just an amazing question and just the journey of this book. When you asked it, I actually was getting teary-eyed because I remember, so I was referred to you, and I had wanted to write a book on my story for a very long time, but I knew I had to heal a lot before I could write my story. And I remember our conversation. I didn't even tell my husband, I didn't tell anybody that I was about to do this. And I sat down with you, and I was just so scared to actually put it out there. It was very vulnerable for my children, for my husband, for myself. It was just very opening of my life, which is amazing. But I was so nervous of any, I don't know, negativity, backlash, things to that nature. What I have found, though, walking through this journey has been the biggest healing and most unbelievable blessing I could have ever asked for. And it has just done, it was like that last, thing of like, okay, I can put this behind me and heal. And it was just like that last little piece of my self-love for that chapter of who I was. It was incredible. So thank you for your question. Thank you for having me here with you guys. I'm just so grateful.
Thank you so much, Brittany. Your story still, and I see the transformation that's happened for you because you're talking about it on your lives. And that's the freedom that comes from writing your story. Amber, would you like to go next, hon?
The biggest lesson that I learned was that I can trust myself. And I know that my entire chapter is about trusting yourself and how I've done that over the years. And I talk about how to build your values and how to make decisions based on those, whether unconsciously or consciously. And I talk a lot about that, but I think it was also just a reconfirmation that I should trust myself, and that I do trust myself, and that I can trust myself moving forward in all the decisions that I have in front of me. The last couple of years has been very transformational for me in a lot of ways, which I do talk a little bit about in the book. And I just, again, having that realization that to trust myself is allowed, and I can do it, and I need to do it. I need to do it for myself. I need to do it for my family, my kids, my friends. And that's super important.
Perfect. Thank you, Amber. Andrea.
The biggest outcome for me, Heather and Michael, has been the fact that I had a piece of my life that I could share with all those I love, and that I could help them see what I never told them, what I wanted to write in my memoir. I am writing that, but it takes longer to publish a memoir than being in a chapter. So you gave me the opportunity to give that piece to my family and friends, those who knew me. And the feedback that I got gives me goosebumps and makes me cry right now, because they had the opportunity to witness my journey, my transformation, and acknowledge what I waited all my life. And for those who are very old, which is my dad is not very old, but I'm always thinking, I'm in Canada, he's in Romania. I never know if I'm going to see him again. And the fact that my dad got the opportunity to read my chapter is the best gift that I could give to my dad. Thank you so much.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Andrea. And I get to see you on Thursday because we're doing her book launch. We're doing the official book launch in Toronto when I'm there. So I'm very excited. Justine.
Hello. Oh, very interesting question. And for me, the gift that I received is really a peeling of another layer of myself. When Andrea invited me to share about this opportunity, and after talking with Heather, like I didn't know how I can be a part of this, but I felt that pull because I've been feeling the call to serve in a bigger platform. And so the universe conspired. I was given the opportunity to be a part of this. So thank you, Heather. Thank you, Andrea. And interestingly, as I was writing my book, my chapter, the thing that came up for me is like, who am I to write this? Especially coming from the Philippines, and I am part of a group of amazing, incredible women who have already accomplished a lot. And who am I to be a part of this? And so that has been the journey of writing my chapter. And after writing my chapter and joining this, like the acceptance and another deepening of self-love, that was the gift that I received. So yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Justine. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for trusting Jennifer, the process. And I just got to give a huge kudos to Jennifer for just really embracing and assisting on this project, because we could not have done this without you. So I just want to give kudos to Jennifer Trainer, who is an amazing editor, amazing human, and just really I think she has to go here soon. So I just wanted to give huge kudos to that. Melinda, would you like to go next?
For sure. Thanks, Heather. I think one of the gifts that I've received from this is the friendship with Heather. We actually realized not too long ago that we had never actually met in person. So she came to drop off the books for me, and I'm like, oh my goodness, you're right. This is the first time we met in person. I was introduced to Heather by someone who had written with her. And so I started talking to Heather firstly about my solo book. But like Rena said, it's a perfect opportunity to write a chapter for a compilation like this. And so I think, number one, it was oh yeah, I can actually do this. Wow, awesome. And then the other gift that this has been for me is that this is a stepping stone for my solo book. And it has been gifted to me, divinely gifted to me through this group. Wouldn't have happened without everybody here. So again, yeah, it's a stepping stone for me to elevate open adoption and to help create more loving families with this solo book that I intend to write. So yeah, that's the gift.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've definitely gotten to know each other over the thing, and it's been a beautiful unraveling. So very, very blessed. Camila, do you want to go next?
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for the question. Yeah, for me, there have been multiple lessons. One that really stands out is that once I shared my chapter, I realized for some reason with a bit of a delay that it's not like posting something online where you can remove it. Everybody indiscriminately can read it, people who love it or hate it or whatever. So it was quite intimate to share two different parts of my life. It was kind of two stories that I shared, and realized that it's done now. So it's kind of opened me up to sharing a lot more on social media as well, professionally and inspirationally, and quite possibly being even more vulnerable. I always was, but so that was quite impactful. And then secondly, just feeling something more than I know that we'll be writing books solo as well, but being in this group, feeling these connections and friendships that I think will be there for the rest of my life. And then feeling this as I read the book, as I touched it. I mean, I kind of read energy as well. It kind of feels like this beautiful chorus, a beautiful symphony of different voices singing together. And it's a very different feeling when you're collaborating in this very unique way. So that was very new for me, and I love it. You know, when I touch the book, I feel everybody in it. So it's lovely to be a part of something like that. Thank you for thinking about it, being inspired to do it, and inviting me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Camila. Helena, do you want to go now?
Yes. Thank you, Heather, for the question, as well as for this amazing opportunity. As you know, in our discussions, I was literally my back up against the wall, because for me, I'm the type of person that heals and moves on, and then just closes the doors that no longer need to be opened. But your great motivation and support really made me feel comfortable to embark on this journey. I really can associate with Brittany in many ways, in terms of, you know, you're writing this story about yourself, and it's not just going to be, you know, it like on some social media where you can, you know, erase it. It's permanent. People are going to read this story about me and either go, wow, or how could she do that? How could she leave the family unit? You know, it's the culture, and, you know, so all those scenarios were playing around in my head. And also I had a bit of fear from my family, you know, just very personal threats that I received from them. I thought, do I take a chance on publishing a story that my family may revolt against me? So I thought, you know what? No, they've already revolted against me. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to tell my story, because it's going to help other women who may be experiencing the same issues that I have. And that's what strengthened me. Your motivation, my inner strength. Thank you so much for it. And it's comforting. It's comforting to know that there are these beautiful stories. And I can honestly say, when I read the book, I couldn't stop crying. I really couldn't, because what I went through, when I read other stories, I'm like, mine is so minor compared to that, you know. So, but it's not minor. It's all intertwined with each other. And what a beautiful journey you have put us on to share our stories. I'm so grateful to you and to the other women. Thank you so much. And Michael, thank you for showcasing us.
Thank you, Michael. Exactly.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So we have
three.
Thank you, Helena. We have three left. Charlene, would you like to go next? Then Yasmin, and then Shannon, and then we'll wrap it up.
For me, I think writing in the book was just validation. I had spent so much of the year prior to the book, probably a year and a half, sharing my story really openly. I had been doing a lot of podcasting, and it was part of the healing process I realized that I needed to go through as well, to give myself the voice I didn't have as a child that I needed back then. So for me, the book was just another pebble in the pond to create the ripples that I know that my life is meant to create by sharing the story. So I'm really grateful. I agree with Elena. The stories in this book are, they're so impactful, and I know are creating so who have bought books from myself, and I'm hearing such great feedback. So I think everyone should be so proud of themselves for being so brave to share the stories. And Heather, thank you so much for the time and the energy that you poured in, and the love that you poured into this project. So I'm just grateful, and I can't wait to see what we all continue to do to keep creating those ripples. So
I think we're just getting started, which is kind of cool. Yasmin, and then Shannon. Then back to you, Michael.
So I want to say thank you to Andrea first for introducing me to Heather and referring me to this compilation. I feel like, and thank you for Heather as well for creating that safe space, because personally I felt safe in an international appearance or amongst other women from different cultures to be able to put forward a chapter. One aspect of my life, I have to say, was I needed that safe space, and I felt it with all of you, honestly. And for me, it was like, it showed me the lesson that I learned is like when you actually put your words on a piece of paper, first the mindset tips and the lessons that you learned when you read them to yourself, it's a completely different perspective than when you have them up in your mind, lying there and floating there. It actually becomes something more actionable and more realistic. So that was kind of the first lesson for me. And the second lesson was that I'm capable, because I was able to write my journey fully from my heart. And I was so happy to hear that feedback from people who knew my journey, to come back with such feedback saying that even though we know what you've been through, we still felt your heart and soul in the chapter. My capability of writing, I wrote my chapter in 6 hours, I think, and then I just reviewed it in 2 hours after that. So this showed me a lot personally for myself, and also the collaboration and the compilation, like how it all came under the umbrella of elevation. And I felt that, and I believe that I needed that as a stepping stone for my self-love journey, to be even more open to acknowledge, because in my chapter I acknowledged my roots, my parents, and I said that even though there are differences, I still love them the way they are, but I just have to persevere the way I need to. And so it was so beautiful to see all of this come together. And then reading the book from all the stories, I think it was divinely orchestrated. I was discussing this with Andrea as well, that it was divinely orchestrated in a way where the first chapter started with trusting yourself, because that's kind of an initiation, and then all the way up to the part where you need to persevere and you need to take that leap of faith, and everything that goes in between, like the muddy road and all the traumas and everything that you need to look into. So it was so beautifully orchestrated, and I'm so honored to be part of this journey, honestly, and part of this powerful movement. And that's it for me. I'm very grateful.
Perfect. Thank you, Yasmin. Shannon.
Thank you so much. And like all of you have said, I'm also so grateful to have been a part of this project and journey with all of you. I have learned so much from all of you, and it makes me so proud when I can talk about this project and have full confidence that this book is truly there's something for everyone. I cannot think of one human on the planet that wouldn't have a takeaway and a lesson learned that they could resonate with. So when I embarked on the journey, my life was coming to a point where it was almost a complete transformation. I very shortly after agreeing to write the chapter, which also for me is a stepping stone, I realized the importance of setting boundaries. Boundaries wasn't a word that I had used in my personal life before writing this chapter. Set a boundary. My whole life sort of has been changing ever since, and is now coming together and rebuilding with self-love. And when I said I'm leaning into my strengths, it really came down to that the importance of self-awareness, knowing my strengths, and how do I lean into the gifts I have, and wanting to teach others how to do that, how to like I'm so fascinated by the psychometric tests, like Myers-Briggs being one of the more popular ones, and Clifton Strengths Finders, and just really fully understanding not just my strengths, uncovering other people's strengths and helping them nurture their strengths and refine them so that we can all share our gifts with the world to make it a happier and healthier place. This is also super important for me to be a role model for my daughters. And so the boundary setting and the setting the strengths was a way that I could show my daughters, lead by example in terms of self-love. And I just have such a passion for people and connection and community. And I believe that we all, every human, all of us here on the call you're all so dynamic and you all have such unique gifts. And if we can lean into them, we can achieve our highest potential and live our best lives.
Thank you, Shannon. So Michael, I'm just going to say one thing and then I'll hand it back to you because I think it was one of the questions that you wanted to ask me anyway. The power of the compilation. So when you bring together a community, even though you don't know who is going to be in the book, the power of the ask, the power of the compilation, which is a co-authored book where you bring authors together like what everybody's heard here today, but it's about bringing multiple perspectives and multiple stories together so that the reader can really take the bits and the pieces and put those into their life. And that is, and because a lot of people who read compilations are looking for short snippets of inspiration. And you, to each of you, have just inspired so many. And I just really need to applaud you in being brave to accept that job as the author to help give something back to the reader, because that's really your job as an author. And so however you do it, in magazine format, podcast format, book format, you guys did it. And it's out there, released, and just the freedom that you all have found within that is huge. Michael, and I'm going to put you back on the spot. And do you want to share with us what you just got noted today? Because I want to celebrate you celebrating us with what you got noticed, with what you got news today.
Well, I did. I received some fantastic news that we did a short film on a hate crime that was committed over 25 years ago, and Norman Singh Gill, he was a security guard guarding a Sikh temple here in Surrey, BC, and he was killed for his efforts by 5 white supremacists. And we rehashed the story because he was honored by the temple by hanging his picture up, and we re-released the film with new edits, new footage, and we won Best Short Documentary in an International Film Festival. I would love to tell you the title of it, but I can't pronounce it. But but it was just an amazing thing to have happen. I'm going to lead this towards a question though, because we're all here because we want to do something for our world and change our world and make our world look different, look a little better, right? So I want each of you to tell me what is that goal that you want that book to do so that it helps change our world. Okay, Heather, let's start with you first because you gathered everybody.
My goal is we live in a space where people are hurting. I see it on Facebook every day. I've come out of 33 years in healthcare. I see frontline. I've traveled globally. I've got younger young adult children who are making impacts in this world. And the thing is that I've learned is that we have stories connected for generations. Books have been available for education for generations, and it's the first thing that people reach out to, whether it's a podcast or book. In today's world, it's really about sharing. And we live in a space where rawness and is so true. And I'm going to change this world one story at a time. I'm on. And I also find that when people step into that space of themselves and they are to share that vulnerability, it just creates space and it elevates them to go and share with others. And it's really about people loving themselves enough to not stay in generational trauma. It's about changing the dynamic. It's about changing and making different choices and doing it in a loving way for yourself and your kids and all of the things. So that for me is, I've just seen transformation in story. And once you start to write, it really becomes a spiritual journey, which becomes a cathartic transformational journey. And I've seen people set themselves free of their story by writing in a book, a chapter. And that is what I am put here on this planet to do, is to help people step into that space of just owning a different story for themselves and helping them create that vision for what they want for their life. And that's what I'm here to do. So, and this book is going to be its own branding. We're looking at merchandise. We're looking at putting it into bookstores. We're looking at into, this one's got a big mission behind it. And this is only just the beginning of us collaborating on this. And because every single one of these ladies showed up in a major way. And it showed in how the book debuted itself on Amazon. It showed itself how it showed up in social media. Like this one had a whole different feel because of the ladies because of the co-authors. They've done the work. They're raw, they're authentic, they're vulnerable, and they stepped into the space of bravery to show that. And that's really what every single one of them did. And that's my vision, is just to create these platforms for visibility and just sharing and learning and growing and educating.
Heather, why don't you call out everybody else and let them chime in with their question?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to repeat the question one more time, Michael? And then we'll start with Amber.
What is it that you want the book to change? How do you want it to change our world?
Amber, would you like to go first?
I would love to. I think specifically my chapter is to call out to women and men and just remind them that they have the ability to trust themselves and that they need to look inside and they need to make sure that every decision they're making is the right decision for themselves. And I talk about how I don't want to... Self-love and learning to trust yourself is not being selfish. Being able to trust yourself and being able to make decisions based on that truth really allows you to become and be the best person that you can be and show up the best that you can be for those around you. So it's really an incredible opportunity to make decisions and move forward in a positive way.
Thank you, Amber. I'm going to jump to Shannon because Shannon brought Amber in as a co-author. So I'm going to just link the two of you. So Shannon, would you like to take it away?
Absolutely. So what I would love for people, the readers, to take away is the awareness or knowledge or the mindset that we each have the power to transform our life and flow in the direction of our dreams and to manifest the best life we want to live and abundance, and to just keep, remembering your superpowers and coming back to yourself and focus on those strengths. Life's a lot easier and more fun when you are aware of who you are and you're choosing that every day.
Thank you so much. Yasmin.
So for me, I think the first thing that comes to my mind, and I think I said it before, is just to inspire people, give them a bit of the hope medicine that just keeps their light going, even in the darkest times, because there is always a way. There's always a way. Like, and the first thing that I would say is never give up on yourself. And reading these stories, not just mine, will tell you all of that. So just to inspire people and lead them towards the light of hope, or the medicine of hope, so they can keep their light just fueled and their light just going. Yeah.
Thank you. Melinda.
Thanks, Heather. Thanks, Michael. That's an awesome question. I think my mission here is to elevate and empower mothers to choose adoption and to feel beautiful about it, and to help build more beautiful families and show more love. Like, you know, these little adoptees who are in open adoptions have so many forms of love coming at them. They just grow into such beautiful people. And to be proud and joyful of the choice that they are completely able to make. So that, I think, is my mission, just to elevate that open adoption perspective in society and let people know that it's a beautiful choice.
Thank you, Justine.
Yes, so for me, self-love is really the journey of loving our whole selves. But the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the light, the dark. But it just starts there, because elevating self-love, for me, it means loving others as they are as well, and giving them the same love of loving their light, loving their darkness, loving the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful in them. And can you imagine how different our world will be if we come from that space of love instead of seeing the differences and coming from a place of hate? So for me, that is what I invite the readers to be. Start with self-love, and from there, loving others, because we're all connected, we're all one. So thank you.
Perfect. Love it. Thank you so much. Jennifer.
So I'm going to use a quote that I really resonate with, that I really feel the book sort of describes this quote perfectly. And it's, if you want to soar in life, you must first learn to fly. FLY standing for first love yourself. And I truly believe that every story in this book teaches readers that in order to find, you know, our great purpose in life, in order to find true joy and happiness and love in our lives and with others, is to first love ourselves. And I really think every story in this book paints that beautifully. And that's what I hope our readers, you know, learn from each and every story in this in the book, is that once they find the courage to truly love themselves, they will discover pure joy.
Excellent. Thank you. Helena.
I would love to change the world. We all are, all of us. We're doing this together. It's beautiful. Self-love is your self-identity. And I want to teach people that not to be fearful. I think we run on fear when we try to adapt to various plugins throughout our lives that are imposed on us. Strength takes a lot. It takes a lot of effort to say to yourself, no, I don't want that. Or no, I don't want to listen to this person. And it's not selfish to say no. It empowers you to move on, to forgive. You can't forget about that. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful things anybody can do in their life. It was powerful for me to forgive my family, to tell them I love them, I respect them. It was powerful for me to look at my mother and tell her I love her. I'm moving on. That's power. And powerful that I said I forgive all of them. So my message out there is to teach forgiveness, identify your fear, unleash it, gain your strength, and identify with yourself, because that's where your success is going to stem from as well, from within. You know, we can motivate people as much as we can, but really, Heather, when you motivated me, I had to step back and look inside of me. It was me that made the decision. Okay,
The funny part about
you accelerated it for me. So, but deep down inside, I still could have said no, right?
Yeah,
so
you could have.
Yeah, I didn't. But the whole point of it is that as we flourish in life, we need to maintain our strength. We need to erase fear. I could have been fearful this whole time. If I didn't get on that bus on July 3rd, 1994, it wasn't fear. It was, I'm going to do this. I'm going to explore. I'm going to break away. I'm going to find out who I am. I'm going to love me. So
thank you, Helena.
You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing. Andrea, I think you're our last one.
Yeah, legacy keeps coming up when I'm thinking of this question, and I look at this book. We all are leaving a legacy to our people, to our friends, to our family, to the world we want to change by writing our stories, by sharing, as you said, Heather, in any ways possible. And because I believe we are all one, we are connected. What my vision is with these stories and with this book is that we can see through this book, all of us reading this, the connections, all the connections in our lives and how we touch each other's lives in very small ways, like Melinda always says, or bigger ways like we see in each chapter. So I believe this is part of the bigger vision related to this book, which I saw in you, Heather. I remember when we started talking and you invited me in the book, I saw your vision beyond the seen world. And this is about touching lives intergenerationally, behind us to the present, and also going forward 7 generations, like the Indigenous people say. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. And Andrea, thank you for seeing my vision. And thank you for helping me and guiding me to all of the people that you helped share this with. And because this book was built on 1 degree of separation of 3 people. Andrea, Rosalind, and I think Jennifer. And that's really the power by 1 degree of separation. So it's hugely, and then Helena brought us to Michael. So here we are, Michael, we're all yours.
1 degree of separation is extremely powerful. And I would have never met any of you wonderful, wonderful souls if it had been for Helena introducing me to Heather, and then Heather to all of you. And I'm so grateful to have met you, and so grateful to have been part of this, and that I'm honored that my podcast is going to help promote a wonderful book like this. I've read several of the stories already, and some have touched my heart in so many different ways. So with that being said, because we are actually just out of time, I do have to thank all everyone who is actually listening, please go to Amazon and you're going to look for Self-Love Elevated. And the compiling author is Heather Andrews. And so just put that into the search, and if I know Heather, if she did things the way that she's supposed to do, if there is a author that you have heard today, that you recognize with, that you align with, type that into the search with Self Elevated, and I'm sure you will find that book, purchase it, and use it over and over again. Just keep rereading some of the stories, because each one is going to touch your heart differently. So anyway, thank you, Heather. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Thank you for everyone who is listening or watching this on our Rumble page as the video. And it's just been wonderful.
And as you go out and purchase your book, there's links in the book underneath each of the chapters from when you purchase the book from Amazon. When you read the book, feel free to reach out to the authors, because that's why they're there. We want to hear from you. Or you can go to www.getyouvisible.com and you can reach out to me, and I can always link them to the authors as well. So, yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Click that subscribe button.
So I wish upon that shooting star.
This show has been produced by Depictions Media. Please contact us at depictions.media for more information.